So everyone wants to know how it works, how U.S. universities read applications, and what's the most important thing. What do I need to do? What's going to guarantee that I get into Harvard? There isn't anything that can guarantee that you get into any school in the United States. All of these most competitive and most prestigious schools in the United States do what's called holistic admissions review. And that means they look at everything that's in your application. They look to see what your standardized test scores are. They look at your transcript. They look at your GPA. They read your letters of recommendation, and they read your essay. They try to understand if you as a student are going to be someone who's going to fit well at their university or their college, and if you're going to be a person who's going to thrive there, if you're going to contribute to their school, and their school is going to be a place that's good for you. Okay? And so they work really hard when they are looking at these aspects of your application. There will be one person who is the reader for Japan at all of these schools. And this person will read all of the applications that school receives from Japan. And he or she will probably also read applications from Taiwan and maybe Vietnam, that kind of thing. There'll be a whole region that they will be reading for. It's that person's job to try to understand what kind of high school you go to, what the curriculum is like at your high school, what it means that you have a 4.5 GPA versus a 5.0 GPA. What kinds of students have those kinds of GPAs, for example, okay? So there's not one thing. They will look at everything, and they'll probably take about 20 minutes to half an hour to read your application the first time, and they will decide, they will take notes, and they'll say, this student is very strong in physics, or this student has weaknesses in English, or this recommender says this student is like the best student they've ever taught because they show an amazing amount of ingenuity in the classroom, for example. And then there will be a second reader, and that person will also read the application, and they will make their own notes. And each of those readers will make a recommendation to accept the student, to deny the student, or maybe to defer the student, or to have further discussions about the student. If both of those readers agree, then the next step, no matter what, the next step is that it goes to committee. Okay, the application will go to committee, and all of the admissions officers at the university or the college will meet, and they will consider in one day maybe 100 applications, for example, and they will go through all 100 of those applications, and they will make a decision about whether or not to admit or deny or waitlist the student. And if both of the readers have agreed, then there might not be any discussion, it will just go through. If the two readers have disagreed, then there will be more discussion, and there will be a vote by all of the people on the admissions committee about whether or not to let in the applicant. All of the students who are let in, those applications will then go to the director of admissions at that school, and the director of admissions will review all of the admitted students and probably some of the not admitted students or deferred waitlisted students to see if he or she agrees with the decision of the committee and if maybe it should be reconsidered. Okay? So it takes a while. Your application is going to be looked at by many people, and you need to take a lot of care with it. For me, I think it is the essay that will be the deciding factor for students. So a student with a great essay and who also fits all of the other criteria for being let into a university, they're going to get in. An essay isn't going to make up for profound weaknesses. So if you really don't have the SAT scores to get into a school, if you're way below the average SAT admittance and you don't have, you're not Beethoven, then a great essay is probably not going to make up for that. But If you're within their range, you have strong, the rest of your application is strong, and then your essay is memorable for the admissions officers, then you have a great chance of getting in. Okay. Japanese people always want to know as much as they can about how to be successful with the standardized tests. Because the Japanese system is so, the testing to get into university is the way you get into university, that's easy for you to understand that that should be important for getting into universities in the United States. However, it's really only one aspect, just as I just explained. So the SAT is important, but it's not any more important than any other part of your applications. If your SAT score or ACT score is, you can't get it to within the range, the average range for a university or college, then that will be a problem for you to get into that college, and you should be reconsidering which colleges you apply to. But perfect SAT scores will not get you into the top schools, okay? There are plenty of students who have perfect SAT scores who are denied admission to Princeton, Stanford, MIT, and Harvard, and any other school that I could name right now, okay? So good test scores alone will not get you into college.